the events of this week should not lull you into a sense of comfort that we're on our way back to normalcy and bipartisanship. I wish I had a different take on this, but that's the truth, having spent a lot of time in this town. Let me put it to you another way. If someone took a bunch of innocent people hostage, let's call that hostage taker Kevin, just for the sake of this example, and someone else negotiated to get them released, those hostages released, let's call that negotiator Joe, just for the sake of this example, of course, would a lead like Kevin and Joe work collaboratively to release hostages, a sign of finding common ground and a promise of things to come, make any sense at all? No, it would not. This is the same thing. And I think you've caught on by now to who Kevin and Joe are. So, no, the debt limit deal struck between Speaker McCarthy and President Biden is not a sign that Washington is functioning again. I wish it was. Yes, we've avoided default and economic catastrophe without too many terrible things in the final deal. Yay for us. But the fact that the country came close to defaulting before a majority of Congress voted to prevent that from happening with a deal which, by the way, included crowning achievements like less money going after people who cheat on their taxes, is not exactly a victory for the history books, and we shouldn't treat it that way. On Friday night, President Biden said this was a big win for bipartisanship. I get it. That's his campaign message. That's how he won in part in 2020. He has to say that. And also, he very much believes it and believes in bipartisanship and compromise. That's a good thing. But bipartisanship working again is not my takeaway from last week. So let me tell you what is. Joe Biden was once again underestimated. Again, his strategy and the strategy of his team were once again questioned. And once again, the doubters were very wrong. You might have heard, why isn't he out there more? Why isn't he front and center on this? That's going to make us lose the deal. If it sounds familiar, all of that doubting, it should. Here are a few headlines around the negotiations leading up to the infrastructure deal. Quote, the bipartisan infrastructure deal is probably doomed, alas. Quote, Biden's agenda remains unrealized as Democrats fail to close deal again. There was a decision made in the fall of 2021 when I was still in the White House working with that team that the strategy was to be quiet, that sharing every detail of a deal-making process, that making it into a big circus was not just a big mistake, but made it far less likely to happen. Because guess what? The biggest deals and the most important conversations often happen off camera. That's a part of the Biden philosophy and a central part of the strategy. That, by the way, has led to a lot of deals being made. Being underestimated isn't always a bad thing either. It has given the president a bit of a healthy chip on his shoulder to prove people wrong over and over again. And it isn't just his policymaking style. It's also his political skill that people undervalue. Remember these headlines? When will basement Biden get in the game? Does Biden need a higher gear? Some Democrats think so. Those aren't from recent months. Those are from the weeks before Joe Biden won the presidency and defeated Donald Trump. Or how about these from the weeks before the midterm election? Why Biden's closing argument worries some Democrats and could miss the mark with midterm voters. Help or hindrance, Biden takes a back seat as Trump goes all in on midterms. We all remember how that turned out. Democrats kept the Senate and nearly kept the House. Call me crazy, but maybe, just maybe, he is onto something here. Maybe people don't want a frenetic Twitter president. Maybe they don't want a circus. Maybe getting things done isn't boring and isn't as vanilla as some recent analysis has suggested. Maybe governing is about making people's lives better, or trying to. Maybe you don't have to litigate everything in public in order for progress to be made. So in my experience from working for him for nearly 2 years, it's not really a problem for Joe Biden that he's underestimated. It's kind of a motivator for him. But the big lesson from this week isn't about the future of bipartisan deal-making. Don't hold your breath on that. It's that people should underestimate President Biden at their own